Wedding planner just helps you connect with right people in the right budget and make sure that everything happens smoothly on the wedding day. Couple consciously wants to have their wedding with close relatives, people who they know. Nowadays, if you ask anyone, everybody wants to get married in an outdoor space. We have also seen that we have planned everything, but on the wedding day, the mom of the groom will come and ask us, oh, but you're not prepared for this particular ritual. They're going to just sit, eat and leave, which probably they don't want to do. Okay, you'll always find somebody in your wedding who's not liking something in your wedding.
Yeah.
Be prepared for that. Earlier used to be like शादी हो रही है, एक camera लगा दिया, shoot किया, that's about it, right? And that's how you get that 1 to 2 hours film. Majority of our clients, almost 90% of clientele is NRI. So we see that they go from India to abroad to maybe for education purpose, for jobs. But they, of course, take certain things from abroad, like from their cultures they see over there and all of that, and they incorporate certain things here in this thing. We just help them as a consultant.
So hello and welcome to episode 15 of Dr. AB's Podium. This episode is on the discussion of something called Desi I Do. अब ये जो मैंने इसका टाइटल लिया है, you may understand, Desi I Do ये कहाँ पे यूज़ होता है generally in weddings. So the discussion today is going to be on the Indian wedding scenario. It has evolved over a period of time. It has evolved into a full-fledged industry nowadays. जो ट्रेडिशनल एक ज़माने में होता था कि किसी जगह पे पंडित जी होते थे, अग्नि के यहाँ पे हम 7 फेरे लेते थे और शादी हो जाती थी. It was that simple a concept probably 40-50 years ago. Today, if you look at it, it is not, it of course remains a simple concept, but then there are many ancillary activities that surround it. And that makes it a full-fledged industry. It's a very interesting industry to work in. It's a very interesting industry to be a part of. For this discussion, I have Miss Janhavi Vaze with me. She is the founder and the creative head of Gulmohar Incorporated, which is based out of Pune. She practices full-time into this industry. She is a successful wedding planner. A lot of experiences, I'm going to ask her to share with us. And welcome, Janhavi. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Same here.
So, to begin with, we were discussing a couple of things before the shoot began. But I want to understand the background of your entry into this particular field. And if you can share a little bit about Gulmohar Incorporated.
Definitely. So Gulmohar Inc, we are a wedding planning company based out of Pune. And personally, I started working almost in 2011. I'm a hospitality graduate from Pune itself. But I always wanted to pursue my career in events. I wanted to explore that side of events. When I started my career, I did not have a lot of idea about different types of events and all of that. So I started my career in corporate events first. Then slowly I got exposed to wedding planning industry. And it was very fascinating. I always wanted to do that some time in my career, in whole career, that I should have my own wedding planning company and all of that. I worked in events for almost 10 years before starting my company, Mumbai and Pune. And then in 2019, I finally decided to start my own company, which is Gulmar Inc. So we are an end-to-end wedding planning company. I come from so I have done a lot of weddings beforehand, before Gulmohar Inc, with big fat Indian weddings, small weddings, thematic weddings, NRI weddings, you name it, and I had that experience. But when I saw the Pune market, I thought that the mentality here is not, currently has gone to wedding, like hiring a wedding planner. It was always been that hiring a wedding planner is a luxury sort of a thing, or only a certain type of people hire a wedding planner. Today, that's not the case.
This is your experience when?
This is my experience when I started the company. So say around 2018, 2019. Yeah.
Okay. So as early as 2018 and 2019.
Yeah. That time, because Instagram and Pinterest wasn't a big deal, at that point.
Correct.
So that time, everybody thought that, oh no, wedding planner is a big luxury to have. Okay. So that time used to actually convince client how wedding plan is important for your wedding. Now we don't probably need to convince anybody because everybody knows that it's a required thing.
Correct.
So being a wedding planner, when we say we are an end-to-end wedding planning company, we basically help you with anything related to a wedding umbrella. You starting from like how to propose, your proposal, engagement, any kind of functions, if you want to have a destination wedding or a normal, like a local wedding, how many guests, how to, treat them, how to get a good experience into the whole wedding, and how we can make everything very hassle free for, of course, the couple, the family, and the guests. So that's our major focus these days.
Okay. You spoke about your entry into the wedding industry. When you first probably saw that, not maybe in Pune,
Right.
not as your own company, but
Right.
when you saw that, this is coming in,
Right.
what was that moment for you?
Actually, I never thought about like the money wise basically, but I would definitely tell you it's a great experience when you have planned that wedding for, you worked on that wedding basically for 6 months, 9 months, even a year, and then it finally happens. Like you've everything, you basically married the couple on paper, but it's happening on reality on that specific day. So that's a great feeling, and you can add a lot of creativity. It can be personalized to every couple. It looks different, everybody's choices are different, so that gives a lot of creativity flow and inspiration for us to create weddings actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in your view, you must have seen probably, maybe on television, maybe in reality, you probably would have seen weddings even outside outside of India.
Yeah.
So, what makes Indian weddings very unique? Because I have seen couple of my friends, when they got married, I saw that there were their friends who came from the US,
Right.
especially just to see the marriage.
See the wedding. Yeah.
And so, what makes it so unique in the Indian weddings?
I think the colors. Firstly,
Okay.
we have great traditions in place. We have multiple functions, and being Indians, it's always about celebration for us, right? We find the time to celebrate anything and everything, smallest things in our lives. So, marriage, and also the Indian mentality is focused around marriage and wedding. It's a That's why it becomes a bigger industry nowadays, that everybody, even the client, the family, always thinks about getting married in some way, and then rest of the things. So marriage, wedding comes first in Indian tradition, so that's what's it's different than the culture. Maybe in abroad we have done also that kind of ceremonies as well for our clients, but they are, see, it's plain and simple there. Okay, you're standing in front of a priest, you say few things, you're married, you exchange a ring and things like that. Here we have literally 6 functions before the wedding. You can have your engagement, Maira, Haldi, Mehendi function. It can go up to Sangeet, cocktail dinner, then your fairas, then separate reception, any other celebration if you want to have. So all of those things. So just consider celebratory moments happening so many times in these 2 to 3 days of your wedding.
I think each and every step is a celebration that is there in the Indian weddings.
Exactly. So that's what makes it different from other cultures, I believe.
Correct. And I think each and every step being a celebratory moment offers a unique opportunity for this particular industry. When you work in this,
Right.
each and every step will be offering a different experience. Your experiences in that?
Earlier, I think we were discussing this earlier. Like I was saying, in typical Maharashtrian households, we never saw something called Sangeet function. We always used to have something called Sriman Pujan a night prior, and then the wedding in the morning. But nowadays, we see Haldi function, we see a proper Sangeet function, everybody wants to dance. I think I would say that this is become cultural anymore. It's a part and parcel of a wedding.
Correct.
So that has been evolved. Now guests look forward to like a Sangeet night, dances, performances, DJ night sort of a thing, and then the wedding. So you have given them different experiences throughout 2 days, and then of course like a traditional factor of the wedding as well. So everybody expects that, even the guests. Gone are the days where couples are now saying that, oh, I want to have just 1 day wedding. It cannot have, like, they're not thinking about 1 day wedding. It has to be literally 2 days or 3 days sort of a wedding these days. So yeah,
I think a lot of credit goes to Bollywood for this.
Yeah, a lot of credit goes to Bollywood earlier, yes, and now social media. Yeah.
Because I think Bollywood, when we were back in our maybe my 20s, the early
Right,
20s,
right.
I have seen Karan Johar movies
Yeah.
where these kind of weddings have been
Correct,
shown.
correct.
Where people are dancing, they are celebrating.
Right.
So that's something interesting to understand and analyze how these weddings have been, how these have evolved
Correct.
over the last maybe say maybe one decade, if you
Right.
could throw some light on that.
Sure. So earlier, I think today's day everything had changed. Earlier, wedding used to be a lot from the family's perspective. We know that even maybe a couple, maybe meeting for like one time, two times, maybe just couple of times and getting married. Nowadays, we see that couples are planning their wedding, not the families. Families come secondary nowadays in the planning process.
Okay.
Decision makers are generally the couple, the bride, majority. Having said that, the whole shift in the who pays for the wedding has changed. Now, both the side, like ladki wale, they both are ready to put in money to make that entire thing grand. We see a lot of couples independently fund their weddings, so that's why they get a lot of yes or say in their in the wedding. We also the change, if I have to say, if I have to tell you, earlier we only used to see male pandits doing the wedding for 2 to 3 hours, like we said. Now we also see female priests doing the wedding, explaining the meanings of every ritual in English, and so on and so forth. So the way we are evolving is maybe taking traditions plus some modern things and both in hand sort of a thing.
So we were discussing a couple of moments ago, where about the change in the way things have, evolved in the wedding process.
Correct.
I remember, back I shared with you, when my cousin got married, some, few people I've seen in my childhood when they got married. The entire process of sitting, there and the entire mantropchar and all these things, getting over would take at least 4 to 5 hours.
Right.
As time progressed, during my times, I saw it probably getting over in 1.5 hours.
Right.
You shared a very interesting that it is now getting over in 45 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, 45 minutes is the time. See, maximum 1 hour. I mean, priests these days, Panditji also are very smart. Like, they know what couples wants, what sort of traditions they are okay with. Again, they are sort of, revolves around the pictures, the photographers, the coordination between the photographer and the Panditji.
Yeah.
It's good in a way, but we see that, okay, the traditions, maybe we used to do earlier, it used to be like 20 rituals. Now we focus on only 5 to 6 important rituals, which are must-haves basically. That's how we see weddings are happening these days. We see a lot of couples who are nowadays doing court marriage, saying that, we don't really want to get into, whole rituals and what kind of customs to follow and all of those things. We straight away just sign the papers, married, throw a cocktail party. Even we see those type of clients as well, or like a reception with Varmala and stuff happening. So it totally depends on couples' belief, their family backgrounds, what they want to incorporate, and majority of our clients, almost 90% of clientele is NRI. So we see that they go from India to abroad to maybe for education purpose, for jobs, but they of course take certain things from abroad, like from their cultures they see over there and all of that, and they incorporate certain things here in this thing.
Correct.
We see if we are talking about like changes in how industry is evolving or how weddings are evolving. Earlier we used to see almost 1,000 people, like 1,000 guests in your wedding. Nowadays we see maybe they have come up to like 300, even if it's a reception. If you're thinking about destination wedding, we also see like it's happening only between like 90 to 100 guests or 150 max. So that's sort of a scenario we are looking at, where couple consciously wants to have their wedding with close relatives, people who they know and things like that. So that's how we are evolving these days. Yeah.
I'll tell you one interesting thing here. See, we whatever you're describing, if I related, say, maybe back a couple of years ago,
Right.
In Pune we have these typical marriage halls,
Right.
Karyalay.
Correct.
So Karyalay is whenever somebody used to go and inquire,
Right.
the Karyalay used to give a paper in his hand.
Right.
Keep, you have the pandit available, you have the samagri available, everything is available here.
Right. You just come get married.
Come and get married, and we will take care of the entire thing.
rest of the thing.
The word which you use is to make it hassle free.
Correct.
This thing used to be there.
Right.
But when do you think has this actually been given a visibility that, okay, this is something that really exists?
Right.
Of course, it used to exist, way back
Right.
in Karyalayas.
Right.
But as social media has come into picture, as movies have come into picture,
Correct.
this has really given a lot of visibility to this particular industry.
Correct. So I would also add in that, earlier, again, we used to stick to only 1 or 2 functions. Now we want to do 5 to 6 functions at least. Okay. Then what happens is the Karyalaya can probably cater you to only catering part of it. Okay, apart from all of these things, there are so many things in the planning which we help client with, or a wedding planning requires for, starting from your wedding invitations. Okay, the digital invitations, creating your caricature. How do you want to portray your invitation to be? Because that's going to be like first face of your wedding. Then the whole personalized element to it. So I understand that you're saying that we maybe do the same thing, but they only cater to the day of the wedding.
Correct.
We come in the picture maybe 6 months, 9 months, even a year back of the entire process. Like when to send your save the date, when to send your invitations, how you can make unique invitations for yourself, and so on and so forth. So this is your pre-wedding. Then how to, now entertainment has become another aspect of a wedding.
Correct.
So how to hire them, how to get vendors on board. Secondly, I think nowadays everybody prefers an outdoor wedding. Again, looking at social media and pictures of maybe certain celebrities or influencers. But nowadays, if you ask anyone, everybody wants to get married in an outdoor space.
Correct.
That's when also Karyalaya or banquet hall idea fades out a little. And everybody wants to have like a lavish, big sort of a looking grand weddings, and because you get to do a lot of things in outdoors versus indoors. So that's why people prefer that nowadays.
You spoke about invitations.
Right.
In Pune, you have in Upper Burnsok and all those places, we typically have these patrika shops.
Makers, yeah.
Patrika makers. Now, of course, we don't really prefer handmade or physical patrikas.
Right.
It is all about digital invitations. How has that industry been affected because of this?
I would say they have affected. They have also evolved. We saw this change majorly during COVID because nobody could go to anyone's houses and actually give physical cards. Everybody started sending invitations on WhatsApp, and that's when I would say graphic designers picked in this really well and started making invitations, then digital invitation, then animated 3D animation, and a lot of such things. Nowadays, what we see is even the patrika makers are actually creating different types of patrikas which are modern looking, maybe, which are way different than what used to look earlier. It has a lot of, like, these days everybody wants to send their invitation with something. Now this is also a new trend which we see in these 2 to 3 years. Nobody wants to go for patrika giving in empty handed, so they have a nice mithai box. So they started evolving in this gifting sort of an elements as well, so that they can sell their patrika along with these things, and also have a graphic designer in house, so they can also cater to animated invitations for their needs.
Right.
So that's how when they are evolving, they also changing in this way.
Right. Now, say suppose we take a traditional wedding which say maybe requires you to cover, let's say, 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Proper wedding.
Correct.
With all the different events. Can you in brief explain what is the process that goes behind the entire planning in this?
Absolutely.
With of course, if you could share any of your experiences, something that you came across as a memorable one, if you could add those also in this.
Sure. So, of course, see, everybody's wedding is different, and we basically need to see what a couple looks for nowadays. Now, planning a 3 to 4 days wedding, that means, okay, let's assume that the client is in Pune. They're planning a destination wedding somewhere, say Mahabaleshwar, Lonavala. We have booked the place for them. Everything is sorted. We have done all the planning. All the vendors are booked. All of that. Now, planning process majorly starts, we always recommend start 9 months or a year advance, so that you get a lot of scope in deciding what exactly do you want. You have sufficient time. You're not doing it just because you have like only 2 months left for your wedding. So we always recommend book your all the vendors well in advance. Plus there are certain dates if you're looking for which are like muhurat dates, basically, that you want to get specifically married on a date, like 14 February being one. We see a lot of weekends in December month getting quickly booked.
Correct.
So, and plus, if you're looking for a particular venue to be booked, it's I mean, a great suggestion that you start way earlier. You have multiple options to choose from. Then the planning process is the consultation, like identifying the wedding budget, basically, for the client. There is an overall budget, which also includes your clothes and, you know, jewelry and rest other things you want to do around the wedding, plus the actual wedding cost, which is stay, food for your guests, all the decor, maybe the miscellaneous cost of like logistic, transportation, these invitations, all other vendors like photographers and photographer, makeup artists, those things. So we help them bifurcate their budget, prioritize what exactly do they want, because let's face it, we see everything on Pinterest nowadays and we want everything. So we always tell our clients that you cannot have everything in your wedding. Just prioritize. Okay, if you want to have these 5 things, say food is important for you, my wedding lehenga is important for me, I need another 2-3 things in my wedding. Prioritize that, spend money on that. We'll help you prioritize rest of the things in your budget. So that's when we basically guide them planning their wedding accordingly. And the process of the D-Day, say for example, we try and finish all kind of planning 15 days prior. We speak to our vendors 2 to 3 days prior, reminding them, briefing them about what the wedding is, what exactly are expected out of them, and so on and so forth. And then on the wedding day, there are coordinators managing each area of that whole day. One maybe is looking after guest management, one is looking after maybe rituals, another is looking after hospitality, food. So we also have team accordingly where everybody's set and client they don't need to worry about anything. Couple is hassle free, they are enjoying their part of the tradition and all of that. And yeah, that's how we execute. So entire team. So wedding planning again is not one man's show at all. We at least have 50 different vendors working on one wedding, and that's how we create like one vision. Wedding planner just helps you connect with right people in the right budget and make sure that everything happens smoothly on the wedding day.
Right. So after all this careful planning also, ultimately when it comes to the actual event,
Yeah,
there are bound to be challenges.
absolutely.
So can you share an experience anywhere, you know, where
Definitely.
you faced
So we have
a
seen a
particular
lot of
challenges?
such challenges. A could be a weather challenge. I mean, I can tell you there was a wedding in Goa which we were doing. We were planned. So it was 1st December. We were not even, I mean, it wasn't even there that it's going to rain that day. We didn't even see it in a forecast. It was all clear, okay? But somehow it started raining. It started pouring. The wedding is on the beach. It's a beach side venue, outdoor venue. It started pouring in right before the groom's entry, basically. Everything washed off. Guests couldn't sit on their chairs because everything is wet. Everything is sandy because it's on the beach and all of that. So we immediately, I think within 1.5 hours, we shifted everything indoors. So hotel was pretty cooperative, but our entire team, I remember we were literally putting the chairs everywhere and making everybody sit, and making sure that it doesn't look bad just because it's rained. It's still couple's wedding day, and we don't want to make that. We don't want to ruin anything for them. So we shifted everything in literally 1.5 hours indoors, and the wedding happened. So we see a lot of such things. Even in planning, like guests tell us that, okay, I'll tell you another thing is they don't RSVP in our culture. What is RSVP is telling beforehand that I'm coming with +1 or +3 or plus whatever.
Correct.
So we know exact many numbers that, okay, these many people are coming. Now in a one wedding, what happened is, again, it was a destination wedding near Pune. We had limited rooms of 50 rooms with us. We knew as per guest list, which we had received from the client, that 100 odd guests are going to stay in that 50 rooms. 180 guests turned out because they didn't do RSVP. Because like मैं इसके साथ आ गई, या फिर I bought my kids also along. अरे ये मेरा friend आया था.
बुआ जी आ गई, ताऊ जी आ गए.
I know, like whoever invited, a lot of people came. They didn't RSVP, And that was a big hassle, and it was a one night stay wedding, but still we wanted everybody to accommodate, right? But in that 50 room it wasn't possible at all. So we ultimately had to immediately search for a couple of, like, literally book 2 more hotels which were not very nearby, but like at least in a proximity. And we did that whole thing of booking the venue on the day of the wedding and putting the guests there and things like that. So that is again a part of wedding planning, that number of guests, exact guest list is required, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Correct. And this challenge you face generally in destination weddings, or you face it even in local?
In local weddings, not that much. Though we have seen, like, if you know a venue called Fort Jadavgarh near Pune, we had seen that, again, the client was, they had a lot of relatives in village, and the concept in village is you can bring whoever you want from that household to that wedding once you're invited for the wedding. So they had given the minimum guarantee of, say, 300. So 500, let's consider, for that lunch, wedding lunch that day. 800 people came up for the wedding, because they said that, chalo, gaon ke log hai, iski shaadi hai, we all go. So hotel was panicking because the minimum guarantee they had received was about 450, 480 people.
480, yeah.
They were prepared for 500, 550 people max, but another 250, 300 people were to fed. So that was a major challenge. We didn't have place to sit for anyone. We still, managed somehow that chaos, but yeah, it wasn't a great experience. So again, whenever you're inviting somebody, always prepare your guest list accordingly, that, and plus keep some room for extra guests and things like that if they turn up, if some things happen of that sort.
We spoke about something called as guest experience. So when this entire discussion is happening, it is purely upon the guests.
Right.
The focus is upon the guest.
Correct.
So how do we ensure that these guests have a great experience? Because there may be instances where, a month down the line, after the wedding is done, some guest may, pass a remark.
Sure.
So
okay, you'll always find somebody in your wedding who's not liking something in your wedding.
Yeah.
Be prepared for that. You cannot change somebody's opinion. But see, I'll tell you, majoritarily what we experience is, have your food really good. Focus on your food. Don't compromise your food. That's the first topic of discussion in the guests. So food has to be sorted. Second, entertainment. Now, when I say entertainment, it could be like a Bollywood singer coming and performing. It could be, like dancers performing. It could be a DJ. It could be dholwalas. It could be anything, smallest entertainment. But if you haven't considered that for your functions and this thing, just imagine what guests are going to do. If you're not going to engage them in something, some kind of activity, something, they're going to just sit, eat and leave, which probably they don't want to do. These days, if you're basically, our focus always has been guest experience, as in that guest also needs to feel like, oh, they've come for a wedding, they have also contributed somehow into that wedding. So smaller things like, I'll give you a smallest example of Phoolon ki Holi. These days it's a very common thing to do a Phoolon ki Holi. So we just arrange everyone in a circle, cousins, bua, relatives, all of those people, and throw petals at couple to get those beautiful clicks or the in the video and things like that. So you basically making them participate in things. Another another example of guest experience for us is having photo booths. Or having musicians where they are not, like, basically the guests are not getting bored in that 2 to 3 hours of your wedding or any kind of function, or have certain kind of activities these days, like make your own perfume, make your own candles, create your own DIY stuff and major stalls and things like that. That's when we say guest experience. Also, guest experience starts from the moment they arrive at the in that hotel, basically. So starting from the check-in, if they don't get their rooms on time, if they have to wait for something, they will start again like cribbing and talking about it. So we think about all of these things, coordination with the hotel, when are we going to get the keys of the rooms, names, do we have their Aadhaar card, all of those planning goes behind giving the smooth guest experience to them.
One small example I want to take, which is probably a little detour
Sure.
from the entire discussion. When we were kids, typically when marriages used to, happen in these karyalas, small kids used to find a way to entertain themselves. They would run around here and there. They
Right.
would play hide and seek. They would just entertain themselves.
Correct.
They were not concerned about the rituals.
Right, absolutely.
They were not concerned about the food. They were not concerned about how much time it is taking.
Right,
They would simply play.
correct.
Have you seen this? Have you seen anything change now in in the current years? When there are small kids around.
Yeah, we actually plan something for them as well. If we always ask our clients that, do you have a lot of kids in your wedding? If the kids are there in different ages, we definitely plan something for them.
Okay.
Like maybe a coloring book kit, maybe a ball pool where they can just enjoy things, maybe a play area nearby where the wedding is happening. If it's happening in a resort, it's quite possible. So we always keep that factor considered. Because we know they're going to get bored. I mean, they still run around and, have their own
Correct.
good time. But if we are not giving them, again, to do something, they're going to get bored, go to their mom and dad and say that, oh, I'm getting bored now, let's go,
Let's leave.
do something different. And the parents are going to get very irritated saying, Arey, we can't enjoy the wedding, let me have something else. So we have to plan for every age group that way, that, okay,
Right.
something else is happening for something else.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, social media has really changed a lot of things.
Correct.
It has brought in a lot of aspiration value in terms of everything.
Right.
Could be in terms of the phone that we are using,
Correct.
the vehicle that we are traveling in.
Correct.
Similarly about weddings as well.
Weddings, yeah.
How has this changed over a period of time? I mean, how has social media been very instrumental in making this change?
Right.
Two questions I will ask you in this. One is the entire process. And second, till the actual D-Day arrives, there is going to be something new that is going to be posted on social media every day.
Correct.
So till the last moment, the
Right.
preparation may keep on evolving. And how do you
Right.
cope up with it?
Right. Okay. So interestingly, yes, social media has played a very big role in our industry. Suddenly, we see a boom. You can see everybody's wedding on social media these days, and everybody is doing something different. Now, we definitely give those cues to our clients beforehand, that what you can post on Instagram, what could be Instagram worthy things you can do, and so forth. Again, the budget matters a lot in this place. Like I said, you cannot do 50 things in your wedding. We always recommend what suits you, what personalizes, what is personalized to you, do those things. You want to have grand Varmala, do that. You can't have grand Varmala, grand Sangeet, grand everything. That's not possible. Again, it's possible if you're planning to spend money on it. So that's when it comes to social media, that we see maybe 50 things in different functions, and we say, oh, I want all of these 50 in XYZ budget, which we tell people really not possible. Prioritize. These are the things you want in your wedding, then spend money on it. Another thing we see is bride and groom are these days very aware of everything. Like they have seen maybe different companies' work, they have seen our work, they have seen something else happening in different things. So they make their opinions about planners, decorators around it as well. Another thing we see is more followers, more experienced company, which cannot be true always, but like that's what we see happening these days. And nowadays even websites have changed. Nowadays you cannot have website, that's fine. You can still be a successful business owner. You have to have an Instagram page. And the biggest shift we see is everybody wants to have reels these days. More than now, earlier, literally 2-3 years back, we used to say that you will get a wedding teaser. That was a hot trend. Like you will get to see your wedding in just 5 to 7 minutes, like a teaser. That's a fun thing to watch and all of that. Nowadays, that has shifted to just 1-minute videos of reels, or even lesser than that, like 30 seconds of reels, and just give us those so that they can post it on social. So we literally hire content creators for that separately, so that they can shoot it on their phone and we can give it to them as a reel output. So as an industry, now us, like being a wedding planner, how do we see like what's happening in because of social media is, we can see a lot of work, like what's happening everywhere. That's a plus point for us as well. Everybody is aware, but still we can show them different ideas visually. That's a great plus point for us as well. I think social media, we look at it as a blessing, because we also get a lot of inquiries on social media these days, on Instagram and stuff. So is doing great, but yes, expectations have become really higher, and client is aware. Now, basically, if I need to convince somebody who has never seen anything, it's easier for me to convince them that, oh, these are the ideas, this is how it's going to look. But somebody who has attended the weddings maybe of friends, 4-5 weddings already, and plus I can see different things happening on social media, I want to have combination of all of those things, or at least up my game in my weddings. Or
I think now, probably, the days ahead, it is going to be difficult for you to probably, difficult for us to say that somebody has not seen this, because we saw the Desh Ki Shadi.
Correct.
We saw the entire
the Ambani wedding.
Yeah, the Ambani wedding was a big event that was covered on the news.
Right.
What brings me to the next question is this: that by looking at that particular wedding,
Right.
not that we are discouraging anybody to spend.
Absolutely.
You do have money, you spend on it.
Correct.
But then there are certain times where you may also come across certain people where they simply want to spend.
Correct.
Where it is not necessary.
Right.
How do you deal with such clients?
Okay, so I'll tell you, if 9 months, 1 year, 6 months back, client has told me XYZ budget, let's say 100 for a simple calculation. Towards the end, actual D-Day, they have spent 150. Okay, so while planning a wedding, if you're not conscious about what kind of things you want to spend on, you are going to blindly spend, because again, in that 9 months, you are, you have access to social media, you can attend 5-10 weddings and make up your mind saying that, oh, now I want this, now I want that. We always tell them, stick to timelines. You have to finalize everything 1 month in advance so that we get sufficient time to, process, do our back-end stuff and all of those things. And for social media specifically, we always tell our clients that, again, start early, and trends are going to change, but just don't follow trends blindly. Yeah. Just prioritize your stuff, plan those things. If you want to throw in couple of things here or there, I understand, do that a month prior, that's okay. But don't just plan your wedding a month prior because you saw something different. We take approvals on everything 2 months prior in terms of decor, because we need to prioritize like the sizing, how it's going to look, our designs. We need to give it to the decorator to, do those execution and stuff. So it has to have that kind of timeline strictly followed with the client so that it's hassle free towards the end.
Right. So today, the decision makers are the couple as well as the family members.
Right.
There is obviously bound to be a gap between the couple's expectations and the expectation of the parents.
Right.
So as a planner, your role becomes very important to bridge this gap.
Right.
So how do you do that?
There are always surprises. I mean, we have seen that couple is saying something else, but the parents want something else. But we always try and incorporate everybody's opinion into that whole thing, because we don't want to discourage or say no to anyone. See, again, it's somebody's wedding, it's the couple's wedding, it's also the family's wedding as well.
Correct.
Being in India.
Correct.
So we ask our clients that, okay, just make somebody a decision maker. It could be your parents also, we are not saying no, but ultimately who's going to give us go ahead? So generally in our scenario, the couple take the final decision. Again, I spoke about the timeline, the bridging the gap between generations. These days, parents are also very flexible, like whatever my kids want, they let them do it, sort of a thing. But their opinion matters in terms of rituals, like what exactly they want to do in terms of actual rituals, traditional things. Do they want to do a certain thing? So they'll tell us that, oh, speak to my parents on this. I'm not taking a decision. But otherwise, these days we see pretty much flexibility in both of their opinions and stuff. We have also seen that mothers are taking all the decisions for kids. In that, we are okay with any of that. It's just that we ask them that who's the decision maker, tell us beforehand, so that there is no hassle in the whole process. And plus, generational gaps, there always been. Like, we have also seen that we have planned everything, but on the wedding day, the mom of the groom will come and ask us, oh, but you're not prepared for this particular ritual. But it wasn't told to us. But again, like, it's a small thing, so we try and incorporate. So such things happen, but we try and bridge the gap.
You must be coming across a lot of emotional, moments in this, from the side of the family,
from the clients,
the clients.
Sure.
How do you help them in this, or if you can share any experience in that way?
Sure. So, okay, these days, of course, brides don't cry as such in their bidai because they know where they're going, who the guy is, and ultimately they're going to independently live with the guy
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. But we see, yes, families getting emotional. They are taking emotional decisions. They're hiding their emotions and so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, again, we tell them that don't take any budget into the whole emotional angle if
Yeah.
you're not feeling like we have seen dads getting very emotional and do this everything right now, like in front of us they're telling us that, oh, do this 10 things, I'm okay. I'm like, no, don't do that. You have decided something. You don't get emotionally involved in this wedding now 5 days before the wedding. Let it go as per the plan. It'll be easier for you and all of that. Emotionally, we see definitely, in the whole process, we get very attached to the families because we have seen them, we have met
The
them
entire
so many
process,
times,
yeah.
talking to them, yeah. Couples become really good friends with us and so on and so forth. We get to know a lot of insider about the families also, like, the ladki wala ladke, who's spending, what kind of emotions, so on. So, see, we just help them as a consultant from our end, being positive, leaving things at what it has to be and so on and so forth. So we don't
Right.
escalate any things. We help them just calm down and
Right.
relax the whole scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
About reels. Nowadays, it is all about short reels of maybe 1 minute. Back in those days, it used to be about an entire video,
Totally,
probably
yeah,
1 hour or
definitely.
2 hours video.
Correct.
Does it still exist, or it is gone away now?
I mean, it does, but I don't know how many people watch that actually. Like their wedding film
Right.
of 1 or 2 hours.
Right.
We still give it to them to our clients. Photographers still shoot that entire thing, but today that has replaced with cinematography.
I
That's,
wanted to ask you that
yeah,
because the earlier times, it used to be more of a very candid kind of a film, where somebody would capture, actual expressions.
right.
Has it changed in a way where, people somewhere provide some direction here and there, to make it more cinematic, kind of a cinematic feel in that?
Okay, so I would like to change that. Earlier, it used to be non-filtered. I agree.
Huh.
Like it used to shoot as it is.
As it is,
Okay.
yes.
But in today's day, a cinematographer will capture the actual moments of how the bride, like how she expressed when the mother maybe danced for her. Just a small example. So when you say both the ways, earlier used to be like शादी हो रही है, एक camera लगा दिया, shoot के, that's
Correct,
about it,
correct,
right? And
correct.
that's how you get that 1 to 2 hours film. Nowadays, they are capturing, say, my emotions, my mother's emotions, how the guests are focusing, and that's how they create sort of a Bollywood movie for you.
Correct.
In a way.
Correct.
So that experience becomes even more fulfilling because you're seeing all kinds of audiences, how they're perceiving your content, basically what's happening on the stage or your rituals and stuff. Candid is nowadays a very famous thing to do because a lot of couples these days tell us that we don't want to pose for our photos. I don't like photographers coming to me and telling them what to do.
Correct.
Just capture the
Capture it,
moments.
capture it,
Also,
yeah.
they should be 20 feet away from us. They shouldn't be near our, everything. So these are the briefs we get from clients also these days that ask, photographers to be little away from us. Don't be like here, because I want to be relaxed. I want to do my thing. I want to smile whenever I want. Capture those moments. I'm okay if I'm not smiling in certain pictures. I'm okay with it, sort of a thing. Earlier, when you see pictures, say even 10-15 years back, you will see couples smiling all the time in every picture
Right.
with a pose.
Yeah.
Which was a trend back then, but nowadays we see that like emotions capturing different angles, different experiments happening with the whole photography scene also. Cinematography, like I said, capturing every emotions, every movement. So we have to brief the photographers also what exactly is going to happen. You must have seen Kiara and Siddharth Malhotra's movie, like the wedding teaser,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Where
yeah.
he does this and she comes Varmala and stuff. So every couple wants that basically, okay, to happen. But that's very orchestrated. It doesn't come to you naturally, right? So we
Correct.
tell our client, the bride and the groom, that you create your own moment. Walk towards him. Practice it so that it looks natural when you're actually doing your entry, and those moments are captured. So it's not conscious moments, or how am I looking, how is this going, how is he looking at me or no, and things like that. So everything is choreographed, rehearsed, and that's how they
It is so nice because in back in those days when it was not really choreographed, or when it was not planned, you could actually see a lot of footage where people are eating and the photographer
Yeah.
is literally pointing
Capturing,
towards the
yeah,
plate, and the guest is holding the food
yeah.
and is getting conscious. So a lot of change has happened. I think it's a good change that has happened.
Right.
What is your favorite part of the entire process? The entire
Right.
planning process, maybe from say, which maybe spanning over say 9 months
Right.
or 10 months or whatever.
Right.
What is your favorite part of the entire process?
So, I instead of the process, I think we really love the end result. Like I said, you worked so hard on those 9 months, 10 months. You worked on that wedding on paper. You planned to the detail, like okay, so 9 a.m. this is going to happen. 10 a.m. I'm going to do this. 10 a.m. I want my couple to be here. This photo shoot, this setup, all of that. So I have planned everything in my head for 9 months on a paper. Now when it happens actually on that day, and it happens as per the plan, that's what the best part is for us. Actually executing the execution day for us is the best part. In the process, definitely the clients trust on us, consultations, we definitely enjoy that as well with the client, but the best part is when we see what's happening live, what you have planned, and all the details and all of those things, which is I mean, again, like your guests are enjoying, oh, you planned that right, then okay, the mandap is looking really nice because you planned all the flowers and all of those things, the bride and the groom are looking really nice because you hire a stylist. So your process is amazing, like we enjoy that as well, but the end result, when we see that, that's the satisfactory moment for us.
Now, in your entire journey, there could have been experiences where certain times your guests, so your clients, have been too demanding. Maybe it could have happened. I don't know. Every time there is something that you have, proposed, there's always a change at the last moment.
Right.
So, in that entire pressure, in that entire, situation where, every time you're going and suggesting something, you're suggesting A, they come up with B. You say B, they come up with C. How do you stay motivated in that situation?
Uh, See, again, our work is also to tell them that idea is great, but execution wise, what all goes behind it. So if we have time, we'll consider it. If not, then let's go for an alternative options, is what we always recommend. It is stressful when client changes plan last minute, but that's how the wedding industry works. Everything is jugaad and everything is last minute, some changes. If everything is going very smooth in your wedding, just think that something is wrong in your whole process, or with the planner. There is some kind of suddenly there is a new function which comes up towards before 2 months, because like my dadi said, I want to have this function, abhi kar lo. So we have to incorporate that 2-3 hours of function somewhere in between. Say for example, पंडित जी say something different कि नहीं मुझे ये करना है, ये time पे होना ही चाहिए. Then we have to again work backwards because we planned. I'll give you an example. If I have to plan a sundowner wedding, abhi recently we were doing a wedding in Goa, and there was a sundowner wedding. Couple wanted to have this Varmala moment and everything while the sundown is happening, so which is around 6:15 p.m. But Pandit ji had different plans. He wanted to leave early, so he arranged everything on stage of his rituals and everything. But we said that no, we have to remove everything. We only want 2 couples with the Varmala on stage. So he said, no, but I don't have time to place everything here. So, such things. So all of these last minute things are going to happen. But we are there, we are so experienced now that we know, okay, this can go wrong. So we have extra manpower, extra people just helping us out, making it a better experience for guests as well.
Right. So how do you stay updated in this case? Because it's a very creative field.
Right.
So creatively you need to update yourself. A, because of these challenges.
Correct.
B, because every single wedding is going to be different.
Correct.
There could be repeat guests.
Yeah.
Who would be saying, हाँ, because मैंने last time ये शादी देखी थी, आप ही ने किया था.
Correct.
ये अलग experience होना चाहिए इस बार. So for all these challenges or for all these situations, how do you stay updated in this?
So we have our own research going on every time there's a different season coming. So major season for us is November, December, Jan, Feb. That is the season. Beforehand, we get little time in hand right now, like in June, July, September. So we do our research in that time, that what can be a good trend to propose to a client, what can be a new thing which we can do this year. So that's how we keep evolving or keep it creative. Plus, definitely social media. Like we see what our peers are doing, how they are executing the work. We never copy anyone's work, but we definitely like to get some inspiration from them, some like trends which are happening on internet, or we see we have our own research mood boards and what works best, like sort of a Pinteresty presentations with us, create different themes by talking to our decorators and so on and so forth. So such things help us in the process, plus brainstorming. I'm not the only one who works on weddings in my company, right? So there are multiple people who we come closer, we add in inputs, and that's how we keep everything fresh. Plus, we like to unlearn certain things which were going on. Maybe that's not working nowadays. So we try and scrap those things, freshen up certain things, change names of certain things, and again pitch different things to our clients. Yeah.
Right. There's been a lot of lot of evolution in the last maybe the last decade in this industry. Based on your experience, how do you see it evolving in the next, say, maybe 5 years from
Okay.
today?
So I think in next 5 years, people are we see nowadays that couples are conscious about ecosystem. Like they want to have eco weddings, eco-friendly weddings, green weddings, at least some aspect of the wedding. I think that can be that industry can go a little bigger in next 5 years. Weddings are here to stay. They are getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Correct.
So we see this industry becoming literally more than $50 billion industry, only Indian weddings in certain seasons. So I think AI, we actually have started using AI for ourselves. Like for example, ChatGPT for simple things, like illustrate something for us, which we can't probably make clients visualize. Certain themes, we just prompt certain things to image creation AI tools, and we get the images and all of that. So that will be helpful for even 3D models for that matter. A lot of clients of ours, we hire a separate 3D designer to create set, the dimension, the layouts of the space and everything. But AI can help us with that. Also technologically, a lot of things are coming in. For example, mobile invitations, as in like you're sending a screen to somebody with an invitation and so on and so forth. So such technology is also evolving. Different things are coming. Specifically in photo booths, like how to take picture and a like printed copy of it, we see variations of it. Like literally AI and technology is actually creating your caricature, and you get a caricature. You probably get like your 2D image created with a digital sense. So there is scope and thing in everything. Plus we see a lot of AI help in creating softwares for wedding planners, where they can plan, basically have a RSVP in place, guest list and stuff and like that.
Right.
So that helps a lot. So
Right.
that is going to go much bigger. The invitation industry is going to grow. If graphic designer, somebody wants to get into wedding graphic designing, they have a lot of scope, because again, design is a very personal thing, and if you attach it to a wedding, it tells a story differently. So I think that industry is going to get impacted a lot in next 5 years. And personalized stuff, like a lot of like very personal to me, those things we're going to see a lot in next 5 years is what we feel. Yeah.
I think AI has just shown the introduction in the weddings, because a couple of days ago there was one video on Instagram where the groom's father has passed away.
Oh yeah.
But then they have created a beautiful video.
Correct.
Where I think I think they have used the VR technology also in that.
Right.
And
Oculus, they're wearing
the
it,
VR,
and
the
they can
VR
actually
goggles,
see. Yeah.
and you can actually see the father walking and coming and blessing him and all those things.
Correct.
So very beautifully, AI is actually blending into
Correct.
these things very
Correct,
creatively and making it very personalized, like you rightly said.
Personalized, yeah.
Now, one advice which you would like to give to anybody, the bride and the groom, that what is that one thing that they should know before they start planning the entire process?
Right. So I think I would like to tell them that book your wedding planner right before, even before you start planning your wedding. What I mean, even if you don't have your the date in place or venue in place or guest list in place, still approach a wedding planner and book them so that they help you in entire process. Secondly, I would say keep it personalized. I mean, you will say 100 things happening on Instagram and Pinterest, but stick to what really feels right to you, or what feels part of your personality, or sort of a wedding that you want to have. Don't just go overboard with and just follow trends. I think another thing could be that hire a wedding planner well in advance. Yeah, and it's not a luxury nowadays. By hiring a wedding planner is a must these days.
Yeah.
In your family, you probably only have like mom and dad, and they don't even know about the rituals and what goes behind planning a wedding. It's always better to have a wedding planner by your side. We help you save money, literally, on your negotiation with the hotels, negotiation with different vendors. You end up not spending a lot of money by giving some money to the wedding planner. So
Correct.
that's what I recommend to them. Yeah.
And I think it reduces a lot of stress also.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
the entire process itself is very stressful.
Correct.
So the additional burden or additional stress that comes onto the people.
Right.
Say maybe in terms of booking the venue, the jewelry, the clothes, everything.
Yeah.
That can be
Comparing
reduced.
all the things what you've got, these are the 5 options. How will you go to 5 options and compare and come back and make a decision?
And all that while you're working, you
While
have
you're
your
working,
job.
your everyday things.
Your everyday things are
Absolutely.
going on. So I think that's very
And
interesting.
also nowadays couple and the families are not in one place. Like
Yeah.
bride is in different country, groom is in different country, or they're in different country, parents are here, something of that sort. So again, to bridge that gap and make it more smooth, I think hiring a wedding planner makes more sense. Yeah.
Right. Now, to conclude, if you would like to give some advice, what advice would you like to give to people who want to be a part of this industry? Maybe as a
Okay.
job or maybe as an enterprise like
Sure.
yours.
Sure. So I think, try and get as much experience as you can is what one thing I would tell them. Wedding industry is not by book, right? It's not an organized sector where you can open a book, find an answer, and here you have it. You have to have a lot of experience by doing those weddings. Start working with someone. You can nowadays go on Instagram or wedding planning platforms, and you can find so many companies who are doing these weddings. So you can offer your services or be a part of their team to do that, or just volunteer. If you're if you're a newbie, you can start with an internship also. So we also do that. We have a lot of enthusiast people who are coming from interior designing, architecture background, who
Okay.
wants to get into wedding industry. They intern with us, then automatically they probably stick with us as an employee or like a wedding planner as per their experiences. There are so many things in weddings also you can do. You can be a wedding designer, you can be a wedding stylist separately, you can be a decorator, you can be a wedding planner. So there are different forms of things you can do in weddings as well. And interestingly, we are actually working on a course right now for wedding planners, like who wants
Okay.
to become wedding planners. So if we have that in place in a few days, even that will be a good,
That's great.
yeah,
That's
good
great. That's
game
great.
changer for everybody. Yeah.
That's great. I think people who would want to be a part of this would certainly look forward to that course.
Sure.
A lot of understanding I have received from the discussion. I'm sure my viewers also will be, really, they have enjoyed this entire discussion. They've got a lot of insights into what exactly is this entire thing called as wedding planning,
Right.
or what is this industry called as wedding planning. I'm sure there's a lot of understanding that you have received through this discussion. Those of you who wish to plan your wedding soon, I will be giving the description of Gulmar Inc. In the description of this video. Do check it out. Do check out their websites, their services that they're offering. And it's a very interesting industry to be in. It's a growing industry. There's going to be a lot of growth in this particular industry. Do check out this video. Do learn from this. Share this video. Subscribe kariye isko. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Janhavi,
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
on to this discussion with us.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.